So these signs and symptoms could be, what leads to cognitive impairment or Alzheimer's or a form of dementia. So these signs and symptoms are not the diagnosis. Okay, so only a qualified professional can actually do the diagnosis. But these signs and symptoms can help us to know if there is something wrong. Okay, so we'll try and go through that. So these are basically used by health professionals, by geriatricians, by neurologists, by psychiatrists. Okay, so if there are signs of memory loss, and secondly, if the family is getting increasingly concerned about an older adult. Okay, so you can also use these signs, you can look at these signs to gauge whether you have any memory issues or thinking issues or cognition issues. Okay, so that also could be done. Okay, so now there are 21. Okay, so that is go through them quickly. Okay, so as I told you, there are 21 signs and behaviors. So for each of these, okay, so each one, for each sign which is presented, we need to ask, okay, so these signs, do I see them sometimes, or is it happening very often? Okay, or did it never happen before? Okay, so the duration of these signs is also very, very important. And we'll again come back to that. Okay. So the very first sign, which could be concerning, the very first, this is sign of poor judgment. All these are signs related to memory and thinking, problems with memory and problems with thinking or cognition or reasoning. Okay, so the first one is signs of poor judgment. Okay, so it basically means behavior or decisions that suggest that are bad decisions, such as worrisome spending or not noticing a safety issue that is obvious to others. Okay, so worrisome spending. I'll give you an example. So we had a relative, and when it comes to worrisome spending, how people generally, give out money without understanding whether the other person is genuine, whether we know what kind of investments, whether we know the kind of investments that the other person is talking about. So this person who's around, I think, 80 years of age, so he was talking to someone, and this person told him about an investment or something, and our relative gave out 1 lakh rupees without even seeing the person, without even understanding what this investment was all about. Okay, and then it turned out to be a hoax and whatever. So basically he was constantly told not to share your PIN number or MPIN number when you're doing online banking. Okay, so all these things are extremely important. Okay, so poor judgment is basically not understanding what I am getting into. Okay, so and also not noticing a safety issue that is obvious to others. Okay, so there is no proper judgment. Okay, so I used to work in the UK, and there we also used to see that a lot of people used to uh, stay in the house and the cooker or the gas on for a lot of time, and that was a big concern for the family members, but that was a safety issue that was not obvious to that person at all. So that is also a sign of poor judgment, where you don't understand the problems that you yourself are getting into, or that could be a problem for others also. So that is a sign of poor judgment. In case you want to ask something or share something, please feel free to do that. The second cause for concern could be reduced interest in leisure activities. Okay, so if there are problems with memory and thinking, Okay, this could be one sign where the person, if the person was interested in something, now the person is not showing any interest in their, favorite hobbies and activities. Okay, so there is a reduced interest. Okay, so as I've written out here, that special attention needs to be paid to a physical health issue that might be interfering while doing the activity. Say, suppose I like to play tennis. It's an outdoor activity. It's a sports activity. So if I have a knee issue, okay, if I have a spinal cord issue, so I will not be able to do that kind of activity. So my physical health is interfering while doing that activity, so definitely it will be a problem for me to continue with this activity. So the second point is, reduced interest in leisure activity, something that the person was interested in, but now the person is not showing any kind of interest in doing that particular activity. Okay, so the first one which we saw was signs of poor judgment. Second is reduced interest in leisure activities. Okay, so repeating oneself. Okay, so we hear a lot of times, where, older adults tend to repeat themselves a lot many times, and a lot of, family members complain of this. Okay, so now when is it a cause for concern? Okay, so repeating the same questions or stories over and over again, especially during the same conversation, is a cause for concern. Okay, if you repeat this story maybe after a week, if you're talking to someone, that is okay. But you are talking to someone and within a span of maybe say half an hour, if you're repeating that same story again, then that is something that is concerning. Okay, that is something that is like a red flag. Okay, so a person is repeating questions or stories, especially during the same conversation, then it is a problem with memory as well as thinking. Okay, so repeating oneself over and over again, okay, is not normal. And if we are doing that, then definitely, there is a cause for concern. Okay, now the fourth thing is difficulty learning something new. Okay, so common examples include, having trouble using maybe a new gadget or a phone or a kitchen appliance. Okay, so it is normal to take time to learn new things, but not being able to learn at all or having utmost difficulty in understanding things is something that is not normal in aging. Okay, so if you really are interested in learning something, you should be able to do that. Okay, so if you have a great difficulty learning something new, then it could be a problem with memory or thinking, and then that could be concerning. Okay, so difficulty learning something new. If I'm not able to learn anything new at all, then that is definitely a problem. Taking time to learn things is all right because that is quite normal in old age. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Do you think all these things is something that you yourself are experiencing or see others experiencing?
Not yet.
Yes.
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 Okay, I see some smiles on people's faces, so I don't know what that means. Okay. Okay, so difficulty learning something new. Okay, so generally there is a notion that, at a particular age or especially in old age, you are not able to learn new things. I'll just give you a small example where we had started computer classes for seniors. Okay, and while doing those classes, the teacher taught these group of seniors PowerPoint. Okay, so now PowerPoint, some features are quite, can be quite complicated. So they took time to learn those things. Okay, and at the end of the course, they were supposed to do a presentation, which was part of their assignment. And um, when the teacher saw the assignment, okay, the teacher was very, very surprised because the students, the senior students, had used such, features which even the teacher did not know. Okay, so they had shown so much of interest and they had gone in so much of depth, of PowerPoint, that they actually used some unique features. Okay, so they found it difficult to learn, but once they learned it, they were actually very, very thorough with it. Okay, so you might have difficulty, it will take time, but new things could be learned at any age if you put your mind to it, and if you are really interested, it could be learned at any age, irrespective of the age. Okay, so it's not normal to be unable to learn something if you are really interested in doing that. Okay, so forgetting a year or a month. Okay, so once, maybe a person retires, or if you stop working, or if you're not going out so much, it is easy to lose track of the day or the date. Okay, but forgetting the month or the year is something that is concerning. Okay, for forgetting which month we are in or the year that we are in. Okay, that is something that is problematic. Okay, and all these signs, the first 8 signs are very, very important. Okay, and after that also those are kind of signs, which are important, but the first 8 signs are extremely important because they form a part of something which is called the informant interview, so which was developed by neurologists to identify questions that could be asked to family members, or to family members, to help check whether a person had Alzheimer's or some form of dementia. Okay, so forgetting the month or the year is something that is concerning. If you forget the month or the year once or twice, that is okay. Okay, you don't have to feel scared about that. But consistently, if you are going to forget the month or the year, then that is something that is a cause for concern. Okay, so day or date is okay if you are uh, forgetting about that. But month or the year, which goes on for 30 days, okay, that is something that is a cause for concern. That is not a normal sign. Okay. Now, difficulty managing money or finances. Okay, if you are unable to take care of the finances, forgetting to pay a bill, 1 or 2 bills, maybe twice, thrice, 4 times is okay, but not able to manage your finances at all. Okay, struggling to keep track of money or finances is something that is definitely not a normal sign of aging. What we are saying is, even if there is memory loss, it should not come in the way of managing your day-to-day activities on your own or independently. Okay, so there are a lot of older adults who are living on their own and managing things on their own. Okay, if that is going to be a problem, then it is something that needs to be, shown to a doctor or maybe a specialist. Okay, so struggling to keep track of money or finances is something that is a cause for concern. Okay, once or twice, 3, 4 times, if you forget to pay the bills, you forget the dates when those bills need to be paid, that is fine. But we are talking about not being able to manage your money or your finances. Now, another thing that needs to be remembered out here is Okay, if you have not managed money in the past at all, okay, if you have not handled finances at all, then that is definitely, it is going to take time and you're going to struggle with that. Then you will have problems, managing your money or finances. So there are a lot of, I think, basically women generally don't manage finances. It is the men who do that. So if women take time to, understand certain things, maybe after the spouse is not there, then that is okay. But if a person who has been doing that earlier and now is totally unable to manage money or finances, then it is a cause for concern. Okay, so difficulty managing money or finances. So problems with appointments or commitments. Okay, so trouble keeping track of appointments and plans. Okay, once or twice, three, four times, it is okay. And that is why we say that you need to be able to actually, make use of certain aids, write things down. Okay, and I'm sure you might be doing that. Write certain things, you have to go to the bank, or you have a appointment with a doctor or whatever it is. Okay, so write things down. Don't rely totally on your memory. Okay, so now even young people have to do it. So it's not just with old age. Okay, so write certain things down, which will help. But also see it. Also remember to see it. Otherwise, then whatever you have written, you might not even see what you have written on a daily basis. Okay, so daily struggles with memory or thinking. Okay, so it is normal for older adults to take longer to remember something, but it is not normal to be often unable to recall recent events. Okay, so recent events, whatever happened maybe yesterday, day before yesterday, recent events, if I'm struggling to remember, then that is also a cause for concern. Often not being able to recall recent events. Okay, so as is written out here, that brain health issues affect short-term memory well before long-term memory gets affected. Okay, so certain events which have happened in maybe the last 1 or 2 days, if you are totally forgetting what has happened, then that is a cause for concern if it is happening often. Now, what happens for a person with, Alzheimer's? We are talking about Alzheimer's, which is a type of dementia. And we talk about Alzheimer's more commonly because 80% of the people suffer from Alzheimer's. Okay, so what happens in Alzheimer's is, now, if an event has happened, okay, so some details regarding that event you might not be able to remember. But with a person with Alzheimer's, they totally forget that that event has occurred in the first place. So the memory that the event has taken place is totally gone. Okay, but here what we are saying is that if you are totally not able to recall recent events, okay, what happened maybe 2 days back, okay, someone came and met you, you went to a bank, you met the manager out there, you are totally not able to remember, then it is a problem. Okay, so what we are saying is when it comes to brain health issues, they affect short-term memory. The long-term memory stays intact till a very long period of time, but the short-term memory is affected. So short-term memory, as in what happened in the recent past, if you are not able to remember at all, okay, then it is a cause for concern. Okay, so daily struggles, if you are struggling with remembering recent events, if that is a big struggle, then that is a cause for concern. Okay, so as I said, the first 8 are especially very, very important. And they say that it's not just one sign that you have to take note of. If 2 or 3 signs are happening very often, consistently over a period of 2 to 3 weeks, then it is a problem. You don't have to take just one sign and then, get scared and worried, okay, I am having a memory issue. Okay, so as I said, The first 8 are extremely important. So which are these 8? Signs of poor judgment, making bad decisions, which might be obvious to others, reduced interest in leisure activities. The third one is repeating oneself, especially during the same conversation. Difficulty learning something new, even though I might be interested. Forgetting the year or the month, not the day. Forgetting the year or the month consistently. Difficulty managing finances overall. Problems with appointments or commitments very, very often. And daily struggles with memory or thinking. Problems with short-term memory. Things which have happened in the recent past. Okay, so if you see that 2 to 3 signs are happening in your life or maybe in the life of the other person, then you need to get evaluated by a professional, or maybe a geriatrician, or maybe a neurologist, or a psychiatrist. So they do certain tests which will help to understand whether there is a memory issue or no. Now we'll go on to the next signs which are there. So paranoid or suspicious thoughts. Okay, so questioning the motives of others. Okay, so worries about theft. Someone is about to steal me. Someone is about to kill me. Worries about intruders. People are coming to rob me, to steal me. So these paranoid or suspicious thoughts, if they occur, then definitely there is a cause for concern. Okay, not just one or two thoughts, but consistently if it is happening over a period of time. The 10th one is delusions. Okay, having a delusion means believing something that is not true. Okay, seeing maybe animals in the house, believing that a family member is a stranger or an imposter. Okay, so accusing others or of stealing. Okay, so delusions, seeing something or believing something that is not true. Okay, if these things are happening, then it is a problem with our thinking. So again, this is quite explanatory, self-explanatory. Visual or auditory hallucination. So seeing things that others don't see, or hearing things that others don't hear. Okay, that is also a cause for concern. So generally they say that, seeing things, especially children or small animals, can be a symptom of certain forms of brain decline. So Lewy body dementia is a type of dementia like Alzheimer's. Okay, so if you are seeing children, especially for a long period of time, or maybe small animals, then it is a cause for concern. Okay, so seeing things that others don't see, or hearing things that others don't hear. So these are basically also psychiatric problems for which we need to see a psychiatrist. Personality changes. Okay, so if a person has been very, very talkative and suddenly the person goes quiet, then that is a cause for concern. Okay, if the person gets more agitated, irritated, annoyed, when the person used to be very, very laid back earlier. Okay, so has the person become totally different than what the person was earlier? Then it is a cause for concern. So personality changes are also very, very important. Has the personality changed compared to what the person was before? Okay, so embarrassing behaviors. Okay, so blurting out something that is socially inappropriate. Okay, telling the person on the face that you don't look good, or maybe that you have not dressed up well. Telling the person on the face, okay, which we generally do not do. Okay, so otherwise acting unfiltered. Okay, embarrassing behaviors for the family members. Okay, where the person does not realize that I have done something maybe which is inappropriate. Okay, so embarrassing behaviors. In some cases, the person might realize, there might be insight. In some cases, the person might not realize or might not have insight that a person has said something which is totally inappropriate. Okay, so embarrassing behaviors. okay, for the family members especially, or maybe for that person also, if the person realizes that I have said something which is not appropriate. 14, as I said, lack of insight related to what the sign that we just saw. So this means showing a lack of awareness of one's difficulties. Okay, there are a lot of people who are living on their own, and when the children uh, try and tell them that, maybe living alone is an issue or living alone is a problem, in some cases we see that there is a lack of insight. People do not realize that they living alone might cause a problem to them, to themselves, and to their family members or people around. Okay, so denying that they are having a problem that is obvious to others. Okay, so as I said earlier, if a person maybe keeps the gas on for a long period of time, then definitely that is a cause for concern, and definitely the family is going to, children, if they are not living with that older adult, it is going to be a problem. So lack of insight into one's difficulties, okay, poor awareness of how their behavior is affecting others around them. Okay, so that is something that is a cause for concern, lack of insight.
Amrita,
Okay.
could we
Yes.
just take a moment and actually open it up to the participants about questions they have? Because there are a lot of things that we're talking about, and I think people may
Mm-hmm.
have some specific concerns. I have a couple I've written to you. I just like to know how common is this? Is this aging, all these things that you're talking about, let's say the first five, seven, would
Eight,
about
yeah.
20% of older adults have this issue? Or would it be higher or would it be lower?
So people who have Alzheimer's definitely have these issues. They definitely have these issues. But what we are trying to say out here is that all these issues could be signs of cognitive impairment, could be signs of early stages of Alzheimer's. And that is why we need to be aware of all these signs. Generally, what happens is this is considered to be a normal part of aging, and memory loss. Okay, if it is going on for a long period of time, then that is definitely a cause for concern, and the person needs to be evaluated. Generally, people don't go and see a professional, a medical professional, which is something that needs to be done.
Should one go to a GP itself first?
A lot of GPs also are not aware of Alzheimer's or cognitive impairment. So you have to see, you have to you have to see, or maybe you can see a neurologist, or maybe a geriatrician, or maybe there are memory clinics as well. Okay, so Holy Family Hospital has a memory clinic where they do all these memory tests, which will give you an indication regarding whether there is an issue or no. So those are, good ways of understanding whether, you know, there could be a problem. So
Okay.
there is a
I just
test
want
called
to
the yeah.
I just want to
So
ask if
memory clinics
anybody
are a
else has
good
any questions, concerns. I think
memory clinic.
this is really
Yes.
a lot to process.
So for me, how I see it is this is part of growing old gracefully, I think. But what we can do at an earlier stage, like 55, 60, and all, get involved in, you know, games which are of mental challenge. See different kinds of colors or shapes, and there are lots of things on the mobile. So, if family members can already help their seniors to use the mobile properly, that would be such a plus point, I think, for seniors.
Correct.
I may be living alone, and I'm not aware that this is happening to me, and I'm all the time in denial, maybe. So, how will
Correct.
I be helped? So I feel that the younger family member, children, or social groups that we are in should encourage us to just be active mentally, because
And I
this is
think that
part
is
of
what
growing
even
old.
TAARE Social is doing, isn't it? That is what even TAARE Social is doing. So
Yes, right.
constantly uh, helping you to get involved in cognitive, stimulating activities, which is extremely important. So I think there is a lot of awareness regarding, physical activity. But, with regard to mental or cognitive or intellectual activity, generally people don't pay too much of attention to that. But that is also equally important. So
Even like
along,
simple thing like using the mobile now on Zoom, how
yeah,
I can talk or how I can disconnect my video and shift, and these simple things. If the family members help, it will be such a plus point. But
correct,
we just think, okay, that I can manage on my own. I mean, I as a senior feel I can manage on my own, and there's no one to help me to
correct,
get ahead in life with my mobile. These are
correct.
little sensitive issues which we need to reach out to towards the seniors.
Correct. And we've always said, as you rightly pointed out, we've always said that, having some kind of a purpose, having your own hobby, as we say, our own ikigai is very, very important. So understanding, what you are interested in, what motivates you. So that I think is also extremely important. But indulging in cognitive stimulating activities, something that helps you to get out of your comfort zone, is also very, very
Right.
important. Like learning a new language or maybe learning a musical instrument. So do something new. Okay, that will also help in, stimulating your brain. Okay, and it also gives you a satisfaction of, learning something new. Constantly learning keeps you on your toes and helps you to keep your mind active. That I think is extremely important.
Amrita, I think we have time only for one more question. Does anybody have any other question? Zoom will be automatically going off in less than 2 minutes.
Amruta, granted that
Yes.
we are able to identify that one of these eight things are troubling us, and you suggest we go to a neurologist or whoever, a physician, how are they going to help us? There
So
is
as I
no
said,
way of reversing it.
there's no way of reversing it, but the first thing is to identify what the problem is. If you don't identify what the problem is, then how can
It
how
is
can anything
connected
be
with
done?
it's connected with aging. So in what way can we get help? I wonder. What's the point in going to the doctors and going to the specialists, and you've reached that stage in your life where you're forgetting things and it just cannot be reversed. So what's the point in going to a doctor?
So there
I
are
was just
certain
wondering.
things, no, there are certain things which could also be reversed. Okay, so there is no need to assume that nothing could be done. Okay, so there are a lot of when it comes to memory issues, there are a lot of things at play. There are a lot of factors which are there. So an infection could cause memory loss. Okay, so there might be, a deficiency of vitamin B12 that could cause memory loss. Okay, so there are multiple things, which could lead to memory problems. So please do not assume that it is only because of the aging process that I am having this problem. Okay, and there is no need to give up. And once the problem is identified, even with Alzheimer's, uh, generally specialists see that they can arrest the decline, and that is what is most important. Arresting the decline is what is most important. Okay, and you see that a lot of people with Alzheimer's also are leading a good quality of life. Okay, so there is no need to give up. But first of all, I think identifying what the issue is the most important thing.